What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 183 of Littleroot Lessons. As always, I'm your host, Carter Noble, joined by our fantastic co-host, Carl Wilkin. What's up, dude?
Not a whole lot. We got Rank E rule set released
True.
as of yesterday.
Well, kinda.
Most
Mostly.
of it.
Some
Most
of it.
We'll call it most of it.
It's,
That's the best way to describe it. Most of it.
I guess we can just jump right in and talk about the official announcement on home. Let me pull up what I took a screenshot of it.
But say you got the screenshot. Like I say, I'm going to pull it up on my phone so I can see it.
Yeah, I sent a screenshot yesterday. Let me see if I can quickly find it. You're gonna leave all this in, right?
100%.
Okay, cool.
We've already started. I ain't going to cut this out. What are you, crazy?
Man, I have so much junk on my phone. When did I take that?
The day it was announced.
Which was yesterday, right?
I think it was Thursday.
All right, well, it's not in my thing, so let me do it this way.
The event that's going to run from October 1st through apparently October 31st. According to Cerebi, but according to Home, it says Tuesday, January 2nd.
The one I'm looking at, okay, so I found the actual page. It says Sunday, October 1st to Thursday, November 30th.
Okay, so nobody knows what it is.
This is from Home, so
I literally am looking at the one on Home right now on my phone, and it says Tuesday, January 2nd.
Well, that can't be right because we get another DLC between now and then.
Well, we get it in winter. Because,
oh, that is true.
February is still winter.
I thought they said winter of 2023.
I don't know about that. I just know they said winter, coming this winter.
I could be wrong.
Which, according to them, summer is literally a week before fall starts, obviously.
So this says, eligible Pokemon. Only Pokemon obtained in Pokemon Scarlet or Pokemon Violet games, including those found in the Hidden Treasures of Area 0, Part 1, the Teal Mask, or transferred from Pokemon Home are eligible. Certain Pokemon may not be used.
And
we don't know what that means.
The full list of eligible Pokemon will be made available at a later date. I assume they don't want to spoil anything for the DLC right yet. Which
that would make sense, right?
We've got 11 days before that's available to everyone. So I would imagine probably that week before Regi E starts, which they might do it like as soon as the DLC drops. They might give us that list because they have Peoria as that first event for Regulation E in October.
Yeah, that is true.
So they probably want to give people at least like 2 weeks notice of, hey, you should figure out how to get these mons.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is the Pokemon company we're talking about. They clearly want you to get your Pokemon in a legal, natural manner and don't want to help you at all in that aspect.
Well, poor Urshifu. Carl, it only takes $500 to be able to play this game.
$500 and like it's like it ended up being like $300 something after tax plus the Switch, plus the time you have to take to play through each game to get said Pokemon.
Yep.
Like, let me tell you, Ursaluna is not fun in Pokemon Legends Arceus. It is not a fun thing to get. It takes a minute.
Yep.
And Urshifu, you have to you have to pick the one you want, and then you hope somebody else has the opposite one you want. So it's just a whole mess. But
yeah, it's crazy.
The thought process here is they might be banning Pokemon. We've seen them do ban lists before. Back in Sword and Shield Series 6, which, funnily enough, was the DLC patch. Was the DLC season. That Isle Armor came out, at the tail end of Series 5, went into Series 6, and they banned the top 10 in both singles and doubles, and that was a whole new format. There's a chance that this happens again as just like maybe an experiment. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know 100%. It'd be kind of cool, I think, if they did. I think if they banned it's either top 10 or Paradox or whatever, just to give some of these new Pokemon they're bringing in a little bit better of a shot of being participating.
So, I guess then we can. It's hard to say what this is going to mean, right? Like, there's potentially a chance that this is going to be new stuff removing Paradox, or it could just be that it's removing the restricted Pokemon that we already have in the game, and those aren't legal, right? Like we really just don't know what this means.
I think if they were just doing the restricted Pokemon, they would have just thrown that out there. It's just like, hey, here's the restricted ban list. Obviously, you're not using these. It makes sense, right? Like, most of the restricteds are transfer in anyway, outside of Koraidon and Miraidon, and Walking Wake and Iron Leaves. So it's just like, if it was going to be the restricted, it's like, hey, we're just going to ban these because that's a lot of the same Pokemon that we can already get access to through home, right? Like, there's no reason to have this veil of secrecy, really, to kind of make things hard to do and such. So I do think that ends up being that it's just like, there's likely a chance that they probably just ban the top 10 in doubles and singles and kind of roll with that format, because that would be a big shakeup, because that's like half the good Paradox Pokemon gone. What is it right now? It would be Fluttermane, Iron Hands. For doubles, according to Showdown, it's Fluttermane, Rapid Strike, Urshifu, Iron Hands, Amoonguss, Landorus, Tornadus, Chien-Pao, Chi-Yu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Rillaboom and Heatran. Goldango would be the first available Pokemon to play.
Interesting. Okay.
And then it's Urshifu and so on and so forth. If you look at the ranked ladder, according to Pikalytics, Fluttermane, Rapid Strike, Tornadus, Iron Hands, Chien-Pao, Landorus, Rillaboom, Ursaluna, Cresselia, Amoonguss would be banned. I'm not sure what the ruling would be for Urshifu, since if they ban Rapid Strike, do they have to ban Single Strike since they share a dex number? That's probably how that would work, because that's how it worked with Indeedee. That's
how I would prefer it happen.
Which, it ends up being fine, because regular Urshifu's number 11. So it's just like, you just take out the top 11, we're fine.
Sure.
Notably, the latter one doesn't take out Chi-Yu, but it still takes out Chien-Pao. Honestly, I'd be fine. And obviously, I don't know what singles is.
Because you don't know those off the top of your head, Carl? Come on.
I don't have access to that stuff off the top of my head.
Yeah, I feel that.
Because singles isn't tracked by, singles cart isn't tracked by Pikalytics, but singles Showdown is.
So I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah. So I could probably look on Showdown here. Showdown has Dragonite, that's different. Goldango's different. Tinglu's different. Dozo's different. Mimikyu's different. Bundle's different. Out of the top 10.
Cool. That's really interesting.
It's like a 16 Pokemon ban list.
To be fair, they have a lot of various bans that, due to their tier structure, they already have stuff that is banned.
So it's hard to track on Showdown singles, right? Yeah. It's really hard to do that. So take that with a grain of salt. That usage set with a grain of salt, but it kind of makes sense. It says this is Stadium Singles Regulation D switch. I don't know how much I trust this information, because it's not a lot of. There's a lot of differences between the last one that I looked on Showdown and this one. Sizor is in the top 10 in this list.
Sure, man.
Goldango is number 3. Bundle is 6, Tinglu is 7. So again, kind of the same numbers. Mimikyu obviously doesn't get banned in this one because Mimikyu's sitting at 12. Dondozo is left alone, sitting at 13, according to this list. Which I kind of would like to see him ban Dozo and see what a format like that without that is like.
Yeah, I can get down with that.
Don't get me wrong. Like I love Dondozo. It's not busted right now, but it's just like if you take away all these powerful things, Dondozo is going to fill that vacuum very quickly. And if you kind of just like, it's kind of Porygon Z-esque. Like Porygon Z was kind of good at the end of Series 5, like going into 6, and then they pulled all the really good Pokemon out, and then like here's Porygon Z as the big bad guy for a while.
Yep.
So I could definitely see that happening. But anywho, that's kind of the idea. Maybe like there might be a ban list. If they do a ban list, it's likely top 10 or just straight Paradox Pokemon across the board.
Which I'm kind of fine with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
So it's weird because like obviously the Paradox Pokemon have a huge effect on the metagame, right?
Yep.
Like obviously the more powerful Pokemon are going to be more impactful. But like I also think that by doing so, you're just opening the door for like other problematic Pokemon to be dominant. Like I think
i.e. Dondozo.
like Dozo, obviously like Urshifu in some capacity is just like absurdly powerful. And like that's saying something. Like you already have Urshifu dominant in a format dominated by
a giant fairy type, right?
Yeah, like it just doesn't matter. It does its thing. So it's crazy to think what this format could be without Urshifu's biggest check.
Right. It would be Series 6 again. That's actually was like the rise of the Dark Urshifu coming in and taking over the format, right? Like Urshifu had just barely missed the ban because it wasn't quite there yet. And when the ban happened, Urshifu was sitting in that 11th, 12th spot in usage, and then it skyrocketed. And
I think the other point of that is I think it was probably higher than that, if you want me to be honest.
It was 100%. It was,
and they just went, let's not ban the new thing.
Let's not ban the new toy, right? Yeah, like why would we ban the new toy that we just released? That's clearly not overpowered.
Obviously, cannot prove that, right? Like there's no factual data to ever be able.
There's I don't know if we have any receipts for it. I remember being very angry about it happening when we went through it because it's like at the time of the ban list announcement, Urshifu was like number 9. But if I had my way, take out the Paradox, take out any pseudo legends that you get from either home, or ruin Pokemon, just take them all out. No Urshifu, no Chien-Pao. Go back to like the Reg A, I guess you want to call it. But we get we get all the Teal Mask. Get all the Teal Mask stuff in there. You can let Ogrepon be in there, I guess, if you really want to. I'm not sure what that Pokemon's going to do anyway.
So I guess this is actually like a pretty okay transition to talking about the returning Pokemon, like that we have confirmed
through images from the DLC. We're gonna asterisk this right now if you're listening and or watching.
This is all confirmed through Pokemon's official media.
We are specifically avoiding.
We're not going to anything like that. This is all officially released stuff. That being said, if you are going in completely blind, ignoring all trailers and everything, this is your time to leave.
Yeah, get going. You can come back later on to the end and listen to us ramble down there.
Carl may put a timestamp up somewhere to show when you can come back.
But this is what the majority of the episode is going to be.
Yeah,
it's going to be us talking about this stuff because it's cool. It's nice to kind of theory craft the format before we get a hold of it.
So we can just rapid fire through these wands, and then I guess talk about afterwards. Like after we go through these wands, we can talk about what we think is actually going to be viable. That work for you?
Yeah, I got like 10 pulled out that I really want to talk about. And so, yeah,
Cool.
we can just kind of rapid fire through them and we'll get to them when we get to them.
So this is all coming from Cerebi. Huge shout outs to them for providing all this information.
Joe is good people.
They have this all sorted through national dex numbers. So, yeah. So here we go. From the top, we have Ekans and Arbok, Clefairy, Clefable, Vulpix, Ninetales, Poliwag, Poliwhirl, Poliwrath, which also means Politoad, Snorlax, Sentret, Furret, Hoot Hoot, and Noctowl, Cleffa as well, because obviously can't have two without the baby. Apom, therefore Ambipom, Yanma, therefore Yanmega, Gliscor, therefore
Gligar.
Gligar, which therefore means Gliscor. Swinub, Pillow-Swine, and therefore Mamoswine, Poochiana, Mightyena, Seedot, Nuzleaf, Shiftry, Corphish, and Crawdont, Feebas, Milotic, Duskull, Dusclops, therefore Dusk Noir, Chimecho, which therefore means Chingling, Ambipom we touched on, Munchlax we touched on, so the next one is going to be Timber, Girder, and Conkeldurr, Litwick, Lampent, Chandelure, Volibee, Mandibuzz, Phantump, Trevenant, Grubbin, Charjabug, Vikavolt, Jangmo-O, Hackmo-O, Como-O, and Cramorant.
Say, catch your breath there. There's a couple inferences you can make because of the way Pokemon normally does things. I will put the caveat here. It's not confirmed. So don't trust me 100% on this, but since we have C-Dot, Nuzleaf, Shiftry, we likely are getting Lotad, Lombre, and all that jazz.
I can see those.
Like they usually those are the pairs that go with each other. Those are usually the pairs that go together.
Trying to think if there's anything else.
That's what I'm looking through now too.
Paired up. We already have Wigglytuff, right?
Yes, because we have Igglybuff, Jigglypuff.
Okay. We already have Arcanine.
Yep.
We have. Let's see. Just trying to think of other things that are like.
Was Phantump and Trevenant like partnered with Pumpkaboo and Gourgeist, or were they just separate things?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either.
I want to say yes. Were they version exclusives?
I don't remember.
We already have Braviary as well, right?
Yep, already got Braviary.
So that's another version exclusive. I feel like Vikavolt should have been paired with something, but I could be wrong as well.
No, Vikavolt was the standard Gen 1, the Route 1 bug.
Got it. Okay. So that's the list of, like 40-ish Pokemon or whatever. I don't know.
So far confirmed,
I'm too lazy to count.
What specifically
do you want to talk about?
So we hit the first one on my list very, very early, Clefairy, right? Like that a friend guard follow me. Granted, it's not super popular right now in terms of like what the format is, but being that just mono fairy type, bulky with Eviolite, having friend guard makes your Pokemon harder to KO, can change calcs pretty easily with that stuff, and it also is just like a great redirector. You can't just like ignore this redirection either, like normally people do with like Terra Grass or Safety Goggles. So that immediately is like one that's just like, hey, this thing saw play in a format where everything got to double their HP and hit really big attacks. And sometimes it would even survive those big attacks. So this is like an immediate like, hey, keep your eye on this one because this actually might be usable in something.
Here's a number for you. Is it 132 or 136?
For what?
EVs.
Goodness, you're making me do math.
Because it's 140, right? So it's 132.
132. Yeah, it's 140. So it's 132.
No, 128. 128, which means 136. Oh, come on. I have Showdown open. Why am I trying to fight with this? Level 50. I don't know why I'm trying to fight with this. I literally can just look. Yeah, 132. Okay. I'm dumb.
I'm about to say, that's what I thought it was.
132 Eviolite max HP Clefairy.
Mm-hmm.
So we are Calm 132 max HP. Choice specs. Let me change these to level 50 just because it might make a difference. Choice specs. Timid Fluttermane.
Mm-hmm.
Moonblast does at most 51%.
Oh damn. Okay. Okay.
It is 6% chance to 2-hit KO you.
That is.
So we can remove that chance, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. We can just make that a guaranteed. No, you're not 2-hit KOing me.
164 Calm, max HP, guaranteed 3-hit KO.
That's really good.
That's really good, man.
What
if we make that modest?
Probably still a 2-hit KO.
It's pretty favorable 2-hit KO.
That's fine. A 2-hit KO is still fine. Like surviving one is good enough.
If we're max, it's a guaranteed 3-hit KO.
Well, there you go.
But then you're like dead to Urshifu, right?
I mean,
then you're just dead to Surging Strikes.
That's why you just play Gastrodon next to it.
True. What was the magic number I said?
164. I don't remember.
Yes, 164.
I have all the dogs visiting me today, guys. Say hi.
164, which leaves us 92 for defense.
Carter's over here doing math.
I am. I'm trying to. I'm calculating Urshifu.
We're making this Clefairy like actually viable.
Dark Urshifu, Wicked Blow is 30% chance to 2-hit KO.
That's not bad.
Close Combat's 85% chance to 2-hit KO. That's also Choice Band Adam.
I'm about to say, yeah, that seems like a lot, but I mean, I'll take your word for it. We're not putting a lot in our defenses anyway.
Let's see. What if we do... We want Jolly. You want Jolly plus Mystic Water. Max attack, Surging Strikes. That's level 100. Let's change that. Surging Strikes is 71 to 83 into this set.
We live the Surging Strikes too. All right.
We live the Surging Strikes.
We live long enough to redirect both hits.
That's all we need.
That's all I needed. Yep.
Good job, Clefairy. You did something.
You've earned your spot. Okay.
And that's when we Terra Water.
Yeah, and then we blow it up.
There's nothing that resists Fairy and Water, right? I was getting ready to say fire. Fire resists water.
Yes, in your crazy magical world, fire resists.
Can
water.
you tell it's been a long day?
Yes. Oh.
I didn't even work today. I'm just exhausted.
But yeah, Clefairy is the first one on my list. It's just like, this thing was good kind of in Sword and Shield for a while. I could imagine it seeing a little bit of play in this, again, kind of in-between format between, like, the medium power level and then the high power level we're going to get when we get, like, Kyogre, Groudon, Restricted, whatnot back.
I had to write this set down so I can come back to it later.
All right. Well, while he is writing that down, the next Pokemon on my list is still in the Kanto region. We're going to talk about Ninetales, and thusly...
I thought we were going to talk about Arbok.
Nah, Arbok's not that great.
Well, I tried.
It's cool. Intimidate, resists Fluttermane's Moonblast, resists close combat, but you just don't do enough anything else after that. But Ninetales and Alola Ninetales in turn, because home compatibility and transferring all that jazz, means that we have new weather setters for both sun and snow. Notably, this Alola Ninetales is a much faster snow setter. being able to outspeed
That is
stuff,
true.
and can easily outspeed Fluttermane if the certain conditions are met, like with Choice Scarf and stuff like that. So that means it's like, I'm going to set my weather. I'm going to set Aurora Veil before you get to move, maybe, and kind of can play that game a little bit. You could even pair this with like a Tornadus to help keep your weather up for your Aurora Veil, stuff like that. Also, very high special attack for spam Blizzards and spam Dazzling Gleams, Moonblasts, all that jazz. Definitely very, very powerful Pokemon, especially with just like, it seems to be like the lack of actual steel types in the format.
Mm-hmm.
So not having to worry about all that random steel types like you were going to in Sword and Shield is probably pretty good for you. Conversely, Kanto Ninetales, being that powerful Sunsetter, got powerful Heat Wave, Overheat, things like that. You're much faster than Torkoal, but you're also much more frail for the most part. So it's kind of just like, which Sunsetter do you really want? Neither of them are great. Because neither of them are Groudon.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just like the lesser of two evils, whichever way you want to play the game, right? I think Alolan Ninetales will have a bigger impact than Kanto Ninetales for sure, though.
So, Sun it's really hard to be better than Torkoal. I think it's the simplest.
Sun is also really tricky in this format, right? Because like photosynthesis is everywhere. The last thing you want to do is just give the Choice Specs Fluttermane an extra boost.
Very true. Yeah, just imagine be like, oh yeah.
It's not like the Quirk Drives where it's just like, I'm not going to set Electric Terrain like ever. Like, unless I'm specifically like, going for that strategy, it's never going to happen. Whereas Sun, it's just like, I want Sun for my Chi-Yu, or I want Sun for this and that, and they just happen to have Fluttermane or not Torkoal, Chi-Yu or anything like that, and it's just like, I killed myself because I needed Sun, and they got to use it too.
Yep.
The next Pokemon on my list, again, still in Kanto, is Snorlax. This thing, hopefully, will actually be pretty decent, right? Like, this is probably a pretty good wall into opposing Fluttermane.
Yeah, right? Like, Snorlax has been, historically, pretty okay. So, I'm really interested to see what it can do, like, in a format where it can do a bunch of different things, like it, being able to change into, like a ground type or something, or even going like Ghost and getting rid of your fighting weakness or whatever. Unfortunately, Ghost is just like never viable because you're just going to get punched by
Fluttermane and Urshifu Dark, yeah.
So like that's just like never going to be viable.
But you could probably go Fairy.
True. That is true.
You could also,
and then that's still a resist for your fighting weakness, which I'm gonna throw it out there. I don't think fighting types are gonna be all that common that aren't named Urshifu.
I'm about to say, I think the only fighting type you're gonna really see is Urshifu. I have Conkeldurr on my list just because I want to talk about it because it's a slower, harder hitting Pokemon, but I don't think it'll be actually that great.
That's fair. That is very fair.
But Snorlax, like you said, Snorlax does a lot, right? Like, you got these Belly Drum sets, they're very, very good. You can kind of do, like, Gluttony, citrus things. Custap Berry back in Sword and Shield was very popular. You can kind of get away with it in this one, too. One of the big calcs I'll want to see is just, like, how much does this, like, regular Snorlax do with Heavy Slam into Fluttermane? Like, that's a lot of damage, right? And like most of the time they're going to Terra to Fairy. Like, they're not Terra into like a Steel resist most of the time. So it's just like, how much is this Heavy Slam going to do?
Probably a sizable chunk.
Like,
right?
That's like the whole idea behind the Solo Dondozo sets, right? Is like Yawn, Heavy Slam, and so on. That's literally the Snorlax set. That's literally what Snorlax does. Yeah. And so we're getting a Pokemon that resists one of Fluttermane's stabs. has enough special bulk to probably be able to comfortably take a Moonblast from Terra Fairy, Choice Specs, blah, 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 whatever, and then OHKO it with a Heavy Slam.
Yep.
So it'll definitely be interesting to see.
Seems pretty okay.
Like Snorlax in my like theory crafting brain is just like, this Pokemon's actually decent. We probably should be playing with this more. Oh, what's next on my list? Politoed. That's right. We got a rain setter that's not Pelipper or Tornadus.
Yeah, we have an actual rain setter.
I still think Tornadus is the best rain setter in the game.
Oh,
by
yes.
far.
I fully agree.
But
Politoed is awesome.
I got a shiny I want to play with.
I get to bring back my little oh yeah.
We got shinies to play with, y'all.
Get to bring back my cotton candy little boy.
It'll be interesting to see if this thing gets like any new moves going into Scarlet and Violet. Obviously losing Scald is a big deal for every water type, and that's a really big deal for Politoed because that like was the water move you wanted to play. So it'll be interesting to see if this just like now you run like Chilling Water as a water move, or if you just do like Hydro Pump, like rain Hydro Pump stuff. This thing's
my body is ready for them to give specifically Politoed. I know it's not going to happen. Yeah. But man, do I want it to.
Maybe we'll get some cool new water move with the Teal Mask. There's a lot of things that they can do with the new game, with the new DLC. Like move tutors and stuff would be cool. Like there's a lot.
Move tutor was in the first DLC for Sword and Shield,
correct?
Right? Interesting. I wonder if we'll have one in both.
Maybe. Or I would imagine if we get one, it'll probably be in the second one because the second one's the one that showed off like a lot of the new moves and stuff.
That is true.
It was also the battle centric one, I guess, compared to the Isle of Armor, where like it was fighting stuff. I feel like they kind of reversed roles this generation. Instead of Crown Tundra was all about adventuring, exploring, and things like that, and Isle of Armor was all about fighting and training. They flip flopped a little bit. The Kitakami is going to be all about probably exploring and stuff, and then the Indigo Disc is going to end up being the battle centric DLC,
which is really cool. I'm all for whatever they want to do, basically.
Yeah. But back to Politoed. Perish Song, Helping Hand. There's a lot of cool tools here. Pure Water type, also just a standardly fine typing. Decent special bulk, if I remember right. So again, like maybe not getting OHKO'd by Fluttermane every time you see it.
I'd be all right with that. I rather enjoy not dying to Fluttermane.
That's a big checkbox, right? It's just like if you're going to be good in this format, you need to not just get OHKO'd by Fluttermane every which way till Sunday. Yeah. So that's kind of been proven with the Pokemon we're picking, right? You either have the capability to outspeed it, or you might be able to live a hit from it.
Yep.
All right. What's next on my list? Scrolling. Not Mightyena, not Crawdaunt. Milotic. Again. Doesn't probably get OHKO'd by Fluttermane. That's the immediate checkbox there. Milotic was our like premier bulky water stall Pokemon in Sword and Shield. I imagine it's going to do something very similar in Scarlet and Violet.
I miss competitive being good. I miss Defiant being viable. Like,
you gotta wait till the DLC part 2 so we get our Incineroar back, and then it's gonna be good, right?
Sure, that's believable.
I mean, Intimidate's still going to be popular. I imagine we'll see a lot of things like Landorus and Arcanine and stuff like that, and Milotic just lines up great into both of those Pokemon. Even opposing Gyarados, it's just like, I'm going to sit in front of you. What are you going to do? There's a lot to like about Milotic. Again, losing Scald, big deal.
Very big deal. Yeah, let's not sugarcoat that. It is pretty big deal. But I mean, Chilling Water on Milotic is not going to be.
Oh no! Like Chilling Water is exactly what Milotic wants, right? Like just like,
oh yeah,
I'm going to
it's going to
stall you out.
Crazy.
Like before, it was just
It's
trying to
going to
burn
be
you.
crazy.
Now it gets guaranteed drops. It doesn't have to fish
Yeah.
for those burns anymore. It's going to force you to switch and pivot, and it's just going to chip you away every time you're doing that. So it'll definitely be interesting to see if Milotic picks up the crown it left in Sword and Shield and kind of puts it back on.
Speaking of Pokemon that have been historically good every time we've ever seen them, Dusclops.
Man, if this thing can survive a hit from Fluttermane, it'll be great. I'm sure it can.
Pulling up the calc.
I'm sure it can. The problem was always like Urshifu. That's why Dusclops stopped seeing plays, because Darkfu could just OHKO you every time.
Pulling up the calc. Let's see. We'll start at like 132 on both. And we want probably we'll be calm, why not?
Sure.
Surging Strikes from the same Mystic Water max attack is a guaranteed 3-hit KO into 132.
It's the Darkfu you got to be worried about.
Well,
That's the one you got to be scared of.
We don't talk about the Darkfu.
Check Shadow Ball from Specs, Modest, Flutter.
Let's see. From Modest, I think there's a 0%.
I'm about to say, if the Clefairy could live Specs Modest, then there's a pretty good likelihood that the Dusclops can, even if it's super effective.
69 to 83.
Yeah, that's the number I'm looking
And
for.
that's 132.
So that's pretty good for 132. That means you might be able to spec more into defense, and you might.
Oh, we're so close. What if? Okay, we had to have some kind of HP investment.
100%. Like we always have to. Dusclops' HP is so bad, you have to max it out first.
So what if this is gonna be like 192? Does that sound right?
192 is
like
correct. Yep.
Let's change this from calm to what's minus special attack?
Careful. I'm gonna say it's careful.
Shadow Sneak is a 2-hit.
I knew that's what you were looking for. I knew you were looking for Shadow Sneak.
192. Granted, this is no bulk Fluttermane, but it's a guaranteed 2-hit KO.
That's still decent from a Dusclops.
I bet, and mind you, this is the minimum HP requirement to make Shadow Ball a 2-hit KO.
Yeah.
So,
just don't get hit.
Throwing it out there.
Just don't get hit twice.
Just don't get crit.
Yeah.
Make sure they're not bulky.
Yep. Like I don't know how good Dusclops going to actually be. Trick Room's not great, and the fact that again it's a setter that is weak to Fluttermane is a big issue. But if there's a world for Dusclops, we'll figure it out. It'll probably be a world without Fluttermane. Let's be real. But there might be a world where Dusclops actually does something. We'll see.
It's really interesting.
Next up, you want to talk about Ambipom?
What is there to talk about? I
guess it's like fast fake out. I'm not sure.
Like it's fake out. It's stabbed fake out technically. So like that is a thing. But like fake out's not really. I think there's better fake out mons. Is the simplest way to put it.
I think Iron Hands is just.
When was the last we saw Ambipom in BDSP? Let me go look at his move pool there.
It's fake out. A lot of what it was doing was like technician stuff.
Oh yeah, I forgot we get technician.
The problem is like you're not gonna fake out a Fluttermane, right? Like unless you could force that Terra, like you're not gonna fake out a Fluttermane.
Let's see. Fling, double hit.
Oh, did you hear that in Showdown? You could fling Big Nugget now.
I did see that. Low sweep. We get Shadow Ball and Nasty Plot, but we also get like Astonish.
I'm off it.
Shadow Claw.
I'm back on it a little bit. That's pretty good.
U-turn. U-turn's actually pretty good, giving you like another pivoter.
Yeah.
Like fake out U-turn. I mean, that's something that Rillaboom's doing now that like it doesn't just get Grassy Glide.
Yeah.
Egg moves. We get Bounce. We get Switcheroo. We get Quick Guard.
All right.
Okay, there's
Stuff.
something to like here.
Not a lot. But...
the problem is your bulk is non-existent at 75, 66, 66.
Yeah, you weren't surviving a hit ever. Like,
this is a Pokemon that needs an evolution.
This is a Pokemon that's just like you're carrying Sash. Like that is your job. Your job is to click Fake Out and get hit once, and then pivot out, and then come back and hit Fake Out again.
Dude, I mean, I honestly think I think this is actually be really cool if Ambipom got an evolution. Because it's at 482
Oh, that's actually really low.
And like bump it to like 550, give it an extra 70 points.
Yeah.
Like give it a little more attack and then like an actual HP stat.
Could be good.
Like imagine if this thing was like 105 with 120 attack, right? Or like 125 attack.
Yeah, like make it actually decent.
Like now we're talking 125 attack, 100 HP, 115 speed. That would be
like you don't
sick.
even have to get it
like a new...
125. Just get its attack to 100 and give it a decent HP stat.
Oh, its attack is already at 100.
Oh, then yeah, just like what.
The problem is its bulk is just non-existent.
You don't want to change its defenses too much. You probably just want to give it HP.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. And then you can give it like some signature attack, like triple hit. It's simple. Just make it double hit, but better.
Double hit, but upgrade.
Make it like, make it like base 50, hits 3 times, 90 accuracy.
Sure.
We solved it. And just make it like Population Bomb, where it checks accuracy on every hit.
Give Ambipom a Population Bomb. It's fine. It's fine. It'll be good. You can't hit Fluttermane with it anyway.
Excuse me, I have something to go calc.
Well, again, while he's off doing that, the actual next Pokemon on my list was Mamoswine.
Yeah, it sucks.
Mamoswine?
Next.
Nah. You're just saying that.
I just wanted to ruffle.
Just to make Angela mad. Mamoswine, being ground and ice is decent typing. You have a lot of like weird weaknesses that aren't normal to both ice and ground usually. I'm guessing Population Bomb does a lot when you're Technician.
It KOs Urshifu.
Well, that's good. We needed that.
It KOs Urshifu twice.
Good. That's what we need.
Granted, this is also Life Orb, so like
that's
you know, we're gonna be Sash 100% of the time. Or in this instance, we need to be like White Lens, which is still a KO. What else? What else can I KO?
So Mamoswine obviously does a lot of the good, powerful ground type stuff. Think like what Landorus is doing. Think what like Ursaluna is currently doing with Earthquake. I'm assuming Mamoswine will get Headlong Rush when it comes to the game. It also will probably get the new Ice Spinner move, which would be really cool and really powerful for it. Having a 100% accuracy like base 80 Ice move is decent. No longer having to rely on Icicle Crash. Yeah, there's a lot to like about Mamoswine. Decent bulk, if I remember right. I don't remember its bulk off the top of my head.
On Mamo?
Yeah.
It's pretty okay, right?
I don't remember how good it is. I know it's decent.
Let me see. I got Cerebi open here. I'll just scroll back down. 110, 86.
Yeah, this is like the Pokemon you slap an Assault Vest on and then just do the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Or like, I mean, again, we've seen Sash on Mamo before in a format with like Urshifus and stuff running around. So
The other thing I just now
it's
thought of is like you have thick fat as an ability. Obviously, you probably want to run Oblivious because it's immunity to intimidate. But like with Terra, you can just like Terra to grass or something, and now you don't have a fire or an ice weakness because you have thick fat.
so what's really interesting is you. Unfortunately, I think Mamoswine is just kind of outclassed by Great
Oh,
Tusk.
all the
For
ground
like,
types beat it. Mamoswine's niche is to try and be an ice type. If like Chen Pao
it's
gets
just
scared.
like Ice Shard dot Mon, right?
Ice
Like,
Shard, Ice Spinner, have at it. Are you over here memeing?
oh yes,
You heard it here first. Carter's memeing on the clock.
that's my persona.
But like Mamoswine with Terra is interesting just in general. Just it's like you have that access to thick fat, which is just like I'm going to kind of ignore a fire and ice weakness, so you find a type that's weak to fire and ice. So like I said, grass. Grass not only is weak to you're only weak to poison, flying, and bug. you you removed a good chunk of grass's weakness with just your ability. And you have actual good stats compared to like the other thick fat Pokemon that we have in Appleton and like Walrein.
This is dumb. Can we give Ambipom population bump, please? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I created a monster.
To all the ROM hack creators out there, I have a request.
Oh, moving on. I'm going to skip Conkeldurr. I talked myself out of talking about this Pokemon. It's just not very good. It's got good attack. It's slow. It hits really hard, but I think Urshifu is just the better fighting type. And if you're going to play a fighting type that's not named Urshifu, it better be named Great Tusk.
Yeah, Great Tusk, kind of class.
Yeah, it's very good. Oh, or Iron Hands. That's another fighting type that you can play.
Iron Hands is so like it's really weird, man, to think that like there's so many viable fighting types in a format dominated by a fairy, like a ghost fairy, right? Like, not only can you not hit them with one of your stabs, but you're also weak to their other.
So,
one.
like, the trick there is it's the fighting types that can all Terra away from their fighting type and still be good. Or is a fighting type that can hit Flutter Mane for neutral. It's really hard. And Sucker Punch. So it's just like Urshifu Rapid Strike tears to water most of the time. Flutter Mane's not hitting you or super effective with any of its stabs anymore. Iron Hands tears to fire or grass most of the time. Not weak to any of the stabs and is decently bulky to boot. Great Tusk, pretty fast Pokemon, usually will Terra to ground. You're probably not living those stab hits anyway, but you're carrying Sash and you can trade KOs there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of why those fighting types are so popular. It's just like they're the ones that have adapted to a Flutter Mane meta and are able to pivot away to that. And I don't think Conkeldurr's doing that.
No.
Next Pokemon I want to talk about, Mandibuzz. I am so excited for Mandibuzz to be back.
Mandibuzz is such a cool Pokemon, man. It really is.
I remember when we were playing with it in Sword and Shield, and I loved that team with Mandibuzz on it. It was so much fun for laddering. And having access to this Pokemon now without Dynamax means that your bulks actually mean something.
So, conversely, my love for Mandibuzz comes from like Nuzlocking. It's just like an insane wall that the computer just can't beat.
It's such a good wall, right? Like
it's Umbreon. It's flying Umbreon.
It's Umbreon
right?
with
like,
two immunities instead of one.
Yeah.
Your only weaknesses are what? Electric, Ice, Fairy, and Rock.
Rock.
Which Rock's not even popular right now. Like Rock Slide is.
It's like, sure, you're adding on more weaknesses, but like, you know, it's fine.
You trade 2 weaknesses, pick up 3 weaknesses, 2 neutrals, and a new immunity. You trade Bug and Fighting for Ice, Rock, Electric, and then you're immune to Ground. But overall, Mana Buzz is just like the bulky wall that can set Tailwind. Like that's what this Pokemon is good at. You have Foul Play. You can do Snarl things. There's a lot to like about Mana Buzz. Overcoat's really, really cool as an ability, especially in a format that's dominated just by like Amoonguss. Just Rage Powder, Sleep Powder, all that Spore, all that nonsense is just like, nah, I don't care anymore. Have you found something you can't KO with Population Bomb not named Fluttermane?
No, I found something that Mana Buzz can't live.
Is it Terra Fairy, Choice Specs, Modest, Moonblast?
You died to... you had to be max, and Timid has a chance to KO you still.
Yeah, I figured you weren't living Fluttermane, ever, with this Pokemon. You have to Terra. This is a Pokemon you have to Terra.
That's, you know, max special attack, choice specs.
Yeah.
No bulk Fluttermane.
Which most aren't even that. Most are like 44 special attack anymore.
Yeah, so like, granted, that is a very heavy hitting Fluttermane, but not a fan.
Mana Buzz is something you would want to Terra and just kind of wall.
Not to deter too much, but Ambipom can Oko Tinglu.
I'm not surprised.
You have to be choice banned, but
I'm still not surprised.
It's so cool.
But yeah,
you're never hitting 10 if you're not.
If you get rid of the Fluttermane, Mana Buzz just deals with everything else.
It's really good, right? Like, man, just looking here at the top mons, like, you line up okay against Urshifu. Hands is a little handsier. Amoonguss obviously is a positive matchup. Landorus is kind of whatever. You just don't really care about them.
The only thing they're gonna do is click Rock Slide in front of you.
Chien-Pao probably sucks.
That's another one you have to Terra.
Chi-Yu probably does a chunk too. Even at 95 special defense, like, Chi-Yu kind of
Chi-Yu just slaps anything, though. That's its job.
And, like, so, conversely, like, Heatran and Golden Go are probably in that same boat where, like, Heatran, it's probably like a 2 or 3 hit KO, but...
What's the base speed on Mana Buzz?
That's still gonna clap. It's 80. So you are faster
than Heatran, right? And you're 4 points slower than Goldengo, but most Goldengo are bulky, so you might be able to outspeed Goldengo.
Yeah, with like minimal investment, that seems pretty okay. And then get off like a foul play,
Snarl.
Oh yes, Snarl's actually pretty good into like both of those. The fact that you can like potentially outspeed Golden Go, you should always outspeed like Heatran.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if you don't outspeed a Heatran.
Like past that, like. Most of the physical mons you have a pretty okay matchup into. Like, Rillaboom, obviously, you check. Cresselia is, again, like, you both just kind of stare at each other. Ursaluna probably claps. That one probably hurts.
Like, you can maybe foul play them before they hit you.
I'm curious.
Foul play probably half healths them, I would imagine.
41 to 49.
3 hit KO.
2 with Flame Orb, right?
It's a roll.
It's a roll with Flame Orb. But downside, Facade's a 2-hit KO. You don't have to be max defense to be able to live. The
fact that you can live the Facade and you're not like just losing a Pokemon there is already a bonus for that.
Yeah, 252.92 is enough to live Facade 100%.
Like you,
and that's from Burnt
like,
Ursaluna. So
that's great.
and that's when they tear a normal you, and then you're always.
That's when you just tear a Ghost, and they can't hit you.
And then they can't touch you. Because that's what I want to do with my Mandibuzz is counter specifically Ursalunas.
No, but Mandibuzz will be interesting. I think it'll be like a Tailwind setter that's not Tornadus or Thunderous. So depending on what they take out of the game,
it has a few additional checks in this game. Like Hands is obviously something that it's not really a fan of. Qianpao, Chi-Yu, both of which are pretty not great for you. And then what was the other one? Like Golden Ghost, probably not great, but you have game there. Hisuian Arcanine, I think, is probably
it's super scary.
Yeah, that's
where your Milotic comes in. You're fine. But yeah. Like Mandibuzz is going to have matchups where it's going to be good. As people will use it, it'll find a niche somewhere. Especially if they pull like the Tornadus and the Qianpaos and the Chi-Yus and things like that out of the format. I think it'll have some use somewhere.
Choice Band's the most common item on Hisuian Arcanine.
That's what I usually see. Yeah.
That's not what Mandibuzz wants to see.
I mean, there's this move called Head Smash that likely OHKOs you anyway, even without the Choice Band.
Yeah, like this is jolly Choice Band.
Like you're not living Head Smash most of the time anyway.
You could, if they're not banned. There's a world where you can live Head Smash. If they're not banned and they're jolly and they're not Life Orb.
I'm about to say that's a lot of ifs.
Look, man, I'm really trying here.
Just let me go down in the super effective hit. That's fine.
Yeah, you're very dead. Yes.
Speaking of another Pokemon that dies to Head Smash, Vikavolt. Have you seen all the?
I want this thing to be so good. I love Vikavolt. It is insane. I love it, and I want it to be good, and I don't know if it is.
So Terra is a big deal, right? Like this is a Levitate Pokemon, Bug and Electric, kind of a crappy typing.
It's the same thing we heard about Rotom. It's an electric type that removes all of its weaknesses when it Terras, which, like, yeah, obviously.
So the trick with this one is you actually have a really good special attack. You can hit something.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? Like, Rotom is, like, in the special attack department. It's got decent numbers there. Vikavolt's going to hit you, and it's going to hit you hard. Electric coverage hits pretty much everything, like, unless it's a ground type, which at that point...
Yeah, except for, like, Hands and, like, Lando, you hit everything in the top 10.
Like, for significant damage, you have access to Terra, so you could Terra into Fire type, and then you live a lot of the hits from Fluttermane, probably. Like, there's a lot to like about Vikavolt. Everyone on Twitter is wanting to Terra ground this thing. I don't get it, but
yep. That's
I'm out of the loop on that one. I see it on my feed like constantly, but I'm just out of the loop on it. But I do think Vikavolt might find a niche somewhere. Probably be a good revenge killer.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, make sure you live hits and then just OHKO something, and then that's all you really have to do. Trade 1 for 1. The last Pokemon on my list, it's only on here because it's a pseudo legend. Komo. I don't.
It's a mon.
Man, dragon fighting just like you have. This is a candidate for must Terra every time. Like, this is a Pokemon that wants to Terra into like steel or fire, like Hydreigon did, but you don't have the fun ability like Hydreigon does, and so it's just like, well, that Terra type's not that great. I don't even know what Como does anymore. You know how long it's been since I've seen a Como in competitive?
A hot minute.
It's got bulletproof, soundproof, and overcoat.
Those are definitely abilities that exist.
Base 75 HP, 125 defense, 105 special defense. Base 100 special attack, base 100 attack. It's not bad, stat-wise. It's not bad. It's just Dragon Fighting is a terrible typing.
That it is.
So I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this thing. Probably... This would probably be a candidate for like Terra Poison.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to guess.
Yeah, just turn into something that...
Yeah, just resist fairy that's not fire or steel. Because they're super common, right? But yeah.
Yeah, I'd be
like the only thing I can think of doing with it. Clangorous Soul or whatever the signature move is. And whatever. You get Boom Burst, right? Is this the... Isn't this the one that gets all this, like a bunch of sound moves or whatever?
I don't think it gets I don't think it's getting that one. I could be wrong, but I don't think it gets Boom Burst.
I don't remember. It does.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Clinging Scales, Clangorous Soul. Close Combat's cool. Draco Meteor's cool. Dragon Dance if you want to do that stuff. Standard pseudo-legendary stuff, I guess. I don't know. That's about all I got for it. It was a Pokemon that's just like, it's got to be on here because it's base 600 stat. Like, you got to talk about it.
Doesn't mean it's good, though.
I mean, people didn't think Dragonite was going to be good, and look at it.
Well, you say that. It took many generations for Dragonite to really come into its own for VGC for sure. But yeah, it's pretty okay now.
Pretty okay. There's a handful of Pokemon that I want to talk about today that weren't on the list from Sarah B, and I'm kind of sad.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we don't really.
Yeah, we don't want to get any farther into that. But there's a couple things hiding in here that I'm like really excited for, and if they are confirmed to be true, then it's gonna be good for the game.
Mm-hmm.
So
it'll be a good time. I'm excited for DLC in the very near future. Man, it's crazy to think how...
I'm about to say, right? Like, it is literally... It's just a little over a week away.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't know what time. Like, we don't know if it'll be
it'll come
UTC or PTS or PDT or whatever. Like, there's a million ways they can do this. I would imagine it would just be whatever midnight in Japan is. Here's the DLC. Like, I imagine that's how it'll work. I don't think they'll do it in waves.
Yeah, I can't imagine them doing it that way.
They might, I don't know.
I mean, I've seen crazier.
Man, how long has it been since we did the Isle of Armor, like, live stream for that one?
Oh, gosh. Forever,
I remember waking up that morning and just like, we're going to play this game. And we live streamed it and we're talking with each other through it.
Yeah, it was a fun day. It was definitely very enjoyable.
So you will be working for sure the day of the DLC drop, and I probably will be too.
Yeah.
That means we need to just sit down and play it together on Friday.
I don't know what I've got going on yet.
But we still got to get through.
I have not figured out.
We got to get through Pittsburgh still before we can even get close to talking about DLC. Pittsburgh will be this weekend. The first actual Regulation D format event that isn't Worlds. It's also the first event of the new season with the new invite rules and all that jazz. So go get your CP. Go get it early so you got to grind for it later.
I'll get mine eventually, maybe. I won't.
We just need to go have a 4-person local. It'll be fine.
Yep. That is a thing we can do.
Yep, we'll just go do that over at the shop, and we'll get you CP. That way you can have it in your nice little Twitter profile. Blank of 500.
I still want it. I want it so bad.
Man, I'm Union Station today. I've seen every animal cross behind me today. My door got opened, and just everybody's just walking in and out.
Nothing wrong with that one.
So yeah.
Got your hands full.
So we're trying to finish up Amelia's room, get it ready. I got a dresser to put together next weekend, or well, technically this weekend now. And then Kayla wants to get that room organized and whatnot before she gets off work officially in 2 weeks.
Official?
So yeah, we got a lot of little things we got to get done still, but we're mostly ready.
Maybe.
I wouldn't say maybe, just mostly. Everything's in there except for the dresser, obviously. But we just gotta finish putting everything away and finish decorating, which that's all Kayla.
Okay.
She knows where she wants stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of just if she hollers for me to get the drill or something, I'll go and do that for her. But she knows where she wants most of the stuff at. So, yeah.
Sounds like a pretty okay time.
I think that's all we got this week. We'll talk about Pittsburgh next week. And get excited for DLC because it'll be the Wednesday after that.
It's crazy to think we're that close, but I mean it makes sense, right?
It's only 7 days before fall.
Crazy.
Yep. But yeah, get us on out of here, bub.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. As always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. It really does help us out a ton. So past that, you can always go ahead and, if you're listening on any of the audio platforms, make sure you like and subscribe. All that good stuff. It really does help us out a ton. Getting everything situated and figured out, and it helps push us against the algorithm. Past that, you can always follow us over on X. That is at LR Lessons. Myself at Mr. Missouri 25. Carlos at Musical VGC. Past that, you can come hang out in the community Discord. That link is down in the show notes. Carl and I are both also on Twitch. That is at Mr. Missouri 25 and at Musical there. If that is something that you're interested in, we'll live stream eventually.
I will have a lot more time on my hands once the baby gets here. So
that makes one of us.
So there might be some just random streams while I have my 2.5 weeks off. We'll see.
Interesting. Let's see. Past that, you can check us out on patreon.com for as little as 50 cents an episode. You can help keep the lights on and make sure everything's good. So that's going to be, of course, going to give us a special shout out to our $10 and up patrons, Papa Swish and Johnny Bravo Sr. Give a special shout out to Smeargle over on... give a shout out to Smeargle for our Discord subscriptions there as well at that $10 level. Let's see. Check out the website. That is lrlessons.com. And check out the merch page over there. So I think that is everything. It sounds like everything. It was
Yeah,
completely out of order.
I think you got it all. I was distracted with my
That's
cat.
yeah. So that's gonna be it, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic week, and until then, we will see you then. Have a good one. Peace.